This is Shannon with Formerly Obedient, and this is just my voice. I'm here to tell you a story, one that's raw, true, and just a little messy. My story is about faith, love, and the kind of pain that lasts decades. So, let's start at the beginning. I was 27 years old. 2 kids, already juggling more than I could carry. But you know how sometimes you still believe the next chapter is going to be better? Yeah, that was me. And that's when I met my second husband. Well, back then he wasn't my husband. We were just living together and trying to figure it out. We weren't even talking about marriage, just trying to make it work. At first, it felt exciting, like maybe I'd found somebody I could actually build a life with. But within about 9 months, I knew something was off. Not the kind of like he's moody off, and not the we need to talk off. I mean big, life-altering wrong. He was a drug addict. The minute I knew for sure, my brain went into survival mode. I wasn't ready to leave, didn't even know how, but I knew I needed more support. Now, I didn't grow up in church. We went here and there, weddings, funerals, Christmas, maybe Easter, but it wasn't a huge part of my life. Still, in that season, I wanted something solid, something that wouldn't fall apart under me. So, I walked into a church one Sunday, and then I kept going. Before I knew it, I wasn't just showing up, I was serving. Children's ministry, tiny hands grabbing mine, crayon drawings they'd made just for me, giggles and snack time and Sunday crafts. It gave me something good to pour myself into, something that felt pure. And honestly, for a while, it gave me hope. Here's the part I didn't tell anyone then. Even with all the chaos, the one place I felt any real connection to him was in bed. The sex was good, deep, physical, and for those moments, it was like we were actually together. He pushed for sex every single day, and I didn't say no back then. It really wasn't about romance or safety. It was the only time I felt close to him. Like maybe the rest of the problems could fade, just for a little while. By the time I was 30, I had my routine. Church, ministry, motherhood, survival. And then, everything shifted. I found out I was pregnant. The thing was, we were no longer living together. We had split because of his drug use. I thought it was over. But when I found out I was pregnant, I really felt like I needed to let him come back home. I told my church. I told them I was pregnant. And I told them he was moving back in. What they said next, I'll never forget. They told me I couldn't serve the way I had been anymore. Oh, I could still, help out, but only behind the scenes. No more leading where people could see me. And then they encouraged me to marry him. They knew. Everybody knew. They knew he was using. They knew he wasn't safe. They knew exactly what I was walking into. But they called it the right thing to do. The God-honoring thing. The thing that would show my children stability. Because my faith was everything to me then, because that church felt like my lifeline, I listened. That baby boy came into the world, our first child together, my third in the house, but the drug use didn't stop. Not for a day. We did get married eventually, and the drug use continued on for many years. Many more years of promises, rehab, relapse, jail, repeat. Many years of not knowing which version of him was going to walk through the door. And that one decision, the one I made after our baby was born, getting married, thinking I was protecting my faith, my ministry, my family, it didn't just cost me those years. It set in motion over 20 years of pain. Over 20 years of losing myself piece by piece. Over 20 years of being told to hold on, pray harder, submit more, forgive again. Over 20 years before I realized that sometimes the most faithful thing you can do is walk away. And here's what I really need you to hear. This isn't just a story about a bad marriage. It's not just about addiction. It's about what happens when someone is lonely, scared, desperate for belonging. When the only place offering you a seat at the table makes you pay for it with your silence. And I paid for over 20 years. And when I finally walked away, I realized I had been more faithful to an institution than it had ever been to me. So that's why I tell my story. Because someone else is sitting in that same pew right now, heart racing, thinking the right thing is the very thing that will cost them the most. And I want them to know there is life after walking away. There is faith that doesn't chain you to pain. And there is a version of you, even if it's been buried for over 20 years, that is worth rescuing. You've been listening to just my voice and just one chapter of my story. There is so much more. More truth, more survival, more of what it takes to break free after 20 years of silence. Please keep listening. My story is still unfolding.